Hi, this is... no it's not, it's the fan. That's better. Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. I'm not competing with that thing. We've got a strange effect in here today. It's way past the point where the sun has come on the roof. We do have blue sky outside, but we're only up to 26 degrees. Now that is strange. The time is way past the point where this would be doing its thing and we'd be, you know, heading up to high temperatures. Now, on the end of this video there may or may not be some butterflies. There's quite a few flitting around in the garden, and we've got very little wind breeze today, which means they're not whizzing around quite so much. So, and I am going to go and sit outside in the sunshine. For some reason today I'm tired, got a headache, and I had a very disturbed night. I woke up quite a few times. I had some nightmares. Now I often remember dreams, that's not unusual, and I have some strange dreams. I obviously have some sort of yearning, or possibly even a longing, to go back to my IT days, because I'm often in office type buildings with staircases and long corridors and doors, often trying to find a toilet. Now that could be a subconscious thing that you need to wake up and go to the toilet. There is some of that goes on in dreams. As you often have an interaction with the outside world in your dream. Sometimes in your dream you're at a party and everybody's like that, and the doorbell goes. And it's actually your doorbell in the real world, or something, or a phone rings, yeah. But yeah, I had quite a few nightmares, which is not like me at all. But yeah, those office buildings are a recurring thing, and I'm often looking for the restaurant. Am I hungry in the middle of the night? And people keep telling me it's down here, down there, down there, and then you go down there and like it's a dead end, or you come out on a balcony or something. And the other one I have is that I'm driving somewhere that I know the way to, but somehow or other I end up on like moorland, on dirt tracks, you know, with sand dunes and places where kids do the trail biking and all that sort of stuff. And I'm in my car. And I end up, look, there's a road over there, and I get back on tarmac and come to a tight bend and I can't turn round in a space where I know I could. In the real world I can turn round on sixpence, you know, even if it's like 2 inches each way and a 27-point turn, I can turn round. But in the dream I can't, and I start bumping into walls and things like that. But yeah, these were genuine nightmares, nighttime mares. What's that from? Not Tom and Jerry, the other thing. Jinxie the cat and the I hate you Mises to pieces. He used to have nighttime mares. That's totally foxed loads of people, that has. You don't know what on earth I'm on about. I was going to say, there's a butterfly nearly came in to join us then. It just made it over the top. So there are a few around today. Right, this is basically an update on before, ongoing, and hoping to be. So, first of all, Dolly the cat has gone. Dolly the cat was moved to the reserve section and has now disappeared from the website. So Dolly has been homed. They've found a suitable match. Now the way they work is they choose a cat that's had a reasonable amount of applications and they start looking at the applications. When they find one that's suitable, they stop looking and contact that person. If that's successful, they go no further. So they don't look at all of them and decide which one's best or more suited. they stop at the point they find somebody who's a suitable match. They've said it's a very small team, they're volunteers, so it's understandable. I'm okay with that. So Dolly's gone, so that's probably why I've got a headache, is most of the morning, apart from going and getting another hole in my hand, yet another blood test. I said to the lady this morning, I said, if I come in here many more times, you're going to have more of my blood than I've got. But yeah, this was a double dose to check my medication levels to make sure they're doing what they were planned to do. So that's my blood thinners and the fact that I've started taking the statins a while back. So this is gone off to be tested to make sure those things are going okay. That are good. But yeah, so the headaches probably come from mucking about on the laptop trying to sort cats out. So I've gone back to that site again, and this time I've been selective on the grounds that it suddenly dawned on me. You know, I was looking at, oh, this cat sounds nice, that's really good. It's in Yorkshire. Do I really want to drive to Yorkshire and then back with a cat in the car? The simple answer is no. I wouldn't put a cat through that type of journey. It's too much, too long, too much. And it's not like a dog. You can stop and let it out on a lead to sort of like, you know, do things. Cat's stuck, isn't it? Stuck in its carry crate. You can't have a cat loose in the car. It can get in under your feet, can panic, you know. So yeah, I decided to go in on my search on the 3 places on the list that are close enough to me to be a sensible journey. Which was Devon, which is Exeter, that's on the way to Burnham's. They had no suitable cats, none that I fancied or right age range or anything. And the other is Oxford and Southampton. Southampton's just up the road. I could be there in 35 minutes. Oxford a bit longer, but still only an hour away, maybe an hour and a half at the most. So it's not a ridiculous journey. So I've gone through, I've selected the ones I've wanted, and where the headaches come from, they don't have the ability to save your form. So you have to fill in, it's a 6-page form. Okay, there's only a few items on each page. You know, like one of them is like, you know, name and address, contact number, that sort of thing. But yeah, so you have to fill each one in, you have to click on the cat, adopt the cat and fill in the form every time. I haven't finished, I've done enough to have a break. But there are 5 that I'm going for, including one that's got no tail. And I thought, is that a big deal? And I thought, actually no, it's not. Not if it's a happy cat. And the reason it's got no tail is it came into the rehoming centre as a mum with a set of brand new kittens. So somebody had obviously said, I'm not having none of that. So that's how it came into the rehoming centre. And basically it was obsessively washing its tail, and had to go to the vet to get everything checked out, and the vet said it's got some form of infection under its skin in the tail that's irritating it badly, and the most successful thing that we can do to give the cat a happy and pain-free life is to amputate the tail. So they took the cat's tail off. Now I don't know whether it's half the tail or the tail, I don't know whether it's got anything it can still wag or anything like that, I don't know. But I thought to myself, a cat with no tail, is that really a big deal? And I decided no, it's not. It's still a nice looking cat, and you don't spend all your time looking at the back end, do you? You tend to look at the front end. That was a good joke there that just springs to mind. Somebody was going on about your eyesight's not too clever. My eyesight's as good as anybody else round here. That cat coming in over there's only got one eye. So that cat coming in's going out. Think about it. But yes, so that's what I've been doing, is filling in more cat forms. I've also started to look up other rehoming centres, local to me, so that we haven't got the silly journey. I mean, there's one place that's just up the road from me, but it tends to take in strays and feral cats. That's too much trouble. You know, I mean, one of Hannah's cats that's passed away now was half feral, and it never really settled. You know, it never really became a lovely, friendly cat. It was always a bit edgy, if you know what I mean. So we won't be doing any of that. So that's what I've been up to. In addition to that, because I went to have my blood test this morning, I always choose the same lady because she's good. She never misses, and basically I don't hardly know it's been done. Whereas some of the others, they must be Olympic javelin throwers, you know, they take a run up. We don't want none of that nonsense. But yeah, so I tend to choose an appointment where I know I'm going to get that lady. We get on quite well. You know, I've been seeing her for a couple of years now. I said to her about just chatting about my appointment for an echo and this, that and the other. And she spent a bit of time, which she's not supposed to do, because she has it's a 7.5 minute window per customer. That's how long she's supposed to spend with each one. Anyway, obviously she gets through me pretty quick, because, you know, it's which arm, neither, and, oh, all right then. You know, swab, needle, sucky away, job done sort of thing. So she finishes with me quickly. So she spent a bit of time on her laptop just getting some phone numbers for me to try and sort out this appointment for my echo and cardio chat with a specialist. She gave me some numbers. Anyway, one of the numbers I tried 2 of those. One of them was a general booking system that couldn't really do. I've already found one of those. Anyway, one of the numbers I've been ringing that gives a pre-recorded message saying we are not answering our phones at the moment. If you'd like to leave a message, we'll get back to you. We leave a message and they don't. So I don't like that. I tried that number again today. Hello, how can I help you? Whoa! Taken by, I had to quickly turn the video off on the laptop that I was watching. Anyway, so I now have an appointment for my echo. She said we have a clinic this Friday that's just come up because one of our cardiac specialists has come back off holiday early due to the problems we have in Europe at the moment, with half of it being on fire. So she said we have an additional clinic this week on Friday. Could you possibly come on Friday? I said, let me have a look at the diary. I said, yeah, I'm okay on Friday. And then she gave me a list of times like that, so I chose a time. So I have my appointment for Friday. So it'll be done soon. Yay! Tick! Job done. Stop worrying about it and all that. So that's done. So I will carry on filling in forms for the cats. I've got 2 more to do. One, if I don't choose the one with no tail, but I personally don't see that as a problem. If I'm selected for that cat, there will be a proviso. Is the fact that the cat's had its tail amputated going to cause ongoing medical issues? Because if so, it's a no-no. Vet bills are outrageous, and I don't want any, if you see what I mean. I mean, Mojo had hardly any vet bills. He had a tooth out when he was a lot younger. That was a bit of a bill. He had to, had to have a general anaesthetic and everything. He had to go back the next day and have it all checked for infections and everything. But apart from that, he just had his claws clipped as he got older and didn't do all his scratchy thing. So I don't want vet bills. They're extortionate. So I'm not taking on a cat that has known medical issues. So we will only take on cats that have no medical issues. That doesn't stop them developing issues, but at least at the time you take them on, they're known. I've extended my age range. I was looking at 4 to 7. Well, I've come back down to 3 to 8, and 1 is 2. It's 2 years, 9 months. It's nearly 3, and it's a lovely cat. So I'm not going to show you them all. I will keep you updated, but at the end of the day I get an email back saying thank you for your application, blah 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 blah. Standard reactionary email, as I call them. On arrival of my form, an email gets sent. There's no people involved, so I get one of those and then I just have to wait, like we did with Dolly. Okay, that one was unsuccessful, but the more I try for, the more chances I get. And I've got a feeling that if I went for the one with no tail, I'd be successful, because I've got a lot of people, a feeling a lot of people would just be put off because of the look. Well, as I said, you spend most of your time up the front end of the cat, don't you? Not up the back end. So we shall see how that goes. We've got one of them buzzy flies again. I hate them. Horrible little things. But, it's funny actually, all my Sarracenias are in here. I wonder if they're actually getting any of these flies. They should be outside in the sunshine really, but I haven't got anything to put them in, which is a bit of a nuisance. We will have a bit of a panic buy if we do get accepted for a cat, because I haven't got a cat bed, I haven't got a nice fleecy blanket to go on the settee, I haven't got scratchy posts or climbing apparatus, like you get these things with various platforms and a cat bed right on the top so that they can survey their domain and check that you're not up to no good, you know. They like to survey the scene. You have to bear in mind, if you get a cat, they are in charge. You lose all control. It's nothing to do with you anymore. The cat rules and you have to obey. Those of you who've never had a cat haven't got a clue what I'm on about. Right, so that's it. I'm not doing orchids today. It was just an update on the progress with the cat, or lack of it, and the way forward and what will hopefully come next. And also, you know, the hospital appointment to go to the cardio department, get my echo done and have a chat about this enzyme. The blood test tested for a specific enzyme that is produced when the heart is not working properly, and mine has not gone outside the boundaries, but it's up the high end. So they wanted to get it checked over to see whether that's just where it's going to settle or whether it's getting worse or not. So that's why we're doing it. And I think at the end of the day, the position I'm in, the AF stays, the medication I'm on seems to work okay. I've got no adverse effect as such. And I think that's just the way it's going to be. And it'll just drift along as it is. If there is a turn of events where things start doing that, then I'll make a big deal out of it. But so far, that hasn't really happened. Not to any great extent anyway. You have to bear in mind, while we're monitoring how all this is doing, the years are progressing. That is unstoppable. We all have to put up with that, don't we? Anyway, so that's it for today. I'm not doing orchidy stuff. Those of you who didn't catch the Sunday video, I did say that I'd bought a new bonsai tree. The video for that on the other channel went on a bit. It got a lot longer than anticipated, on the grounds that I bought it in here on the turntable to have a look at, and then got my tools out and started hacking. And we ended up doing a major styling event and trimming to actually get the basics of what I want that tree to grow into. Because it's not, strictly speaking, a proper bonsai yet. I've done a major start on it to actually get it to the point where it can now grow into the bonsai I would like it to be. So it's an initial styling and trim, but it was a bit aggressive in places, shall we say. It was like big chunks coming off. But it's done now. I've always said that with bonsai. Think twice, cut once. And before you cut, think again. Because once you cut it off, you can't stick it back on. It's a bit like orchids when you're repotting, isn't it? You know, you think, shall I cut that bit off or not? Once you cut it off, that's it, it's gone. But at least with orchids you could possibly end up with a piece that you could pot and try and grow on. And not so much with the bonsai. You cut a big branch off, it's gone, isn't it? But, so that's that. There's no new blooms or spikes or anything in here. So there's nothing to show you as such. Everything is just ticking over, and I've just realised I watered all of my mounts today and I missed a little row of restrepias down there. One of those restrepias has been mounted and it doesn't look right because effectively it's hanging down, and that's not how they grow. Well, there's a simple two solutions to that. I can unmount it and turn it up the other way, or I can put the hook on the other end of the mount, which I will do. It's not worth a video, not really. You're just literally drilling a new hole and putting a bit of wire up the other end, and you know, it's not worth a video. So yes, I'm going to stick the camera indoors. I'm not going to process this video yet, I'm going to do it later. I'm going to go and have a sit outside with the camera and have a look and see if I can film a few butterflies. And even if I can't film them, I can just sit and just try and get rid of this headache and calm down a bit, because it's been a busy morning with a little bit of an upset, and just enjoy the bit of the garden that I've done so far. There's still quite a bit to do out there, some of which is heavy duty stuff. So anyway, so just a chat. So there's two chats on the trot. You got one on Sunday, now you got another one on Tuesday. I wonder what you'll get tomorrow. I'll try and do some sort of proper orchid video tomorrow. Otherwise it's going to be quite a while since you had one. Well, there are times like that when I just sort of look round and I think I've got nothing to film. I will have a look at your wonderful list of video suggestions that you gave me as comments, and then we all voted on them. I've still got that list. I've checked off some. There's still plenty left on there. Maybe there's one on there I could do as a suggestion for tomorrow. But in the meantime, I'm going to go and have a sit in the sun. Doesn't appear to be as hot out there as they said it was going to be on the news. And again, that will be this little strip along the coast that never gets it as hard as the rest. We're into heatwave territory for parts of the country yet again. That's either the 4th or the 5th this year, depending on which bit of the country you're actually in. But yeah, it's the start of another one, relatively short-lived apparently, and possibly cooling down. Up north they've got torrential rain. Yeah, lucky them. There's no sign of anything like that here. And there's no real sign of it to help out in the likes of France and Spain and across Italy. And all that heat and everything that's causing all the problems is now moving east. So there's other parts of Europe are going to get it now. There's so many parts of Europe you don't realise, especially if you go on holiday, you tend to go to the holiday bits, and a lot of those around the coast. There's large areas of, you know, sort of middle across to Eastern Europe that are forested, and a lot of them are conifer forests, and when they get dry, when they catch fire, boy do they go up. I've seen it as a youngster. The area where we used to play had some conifer areas, Scots pine mainly, and I've actually seen one explode where it gets so hot and the heat is so fierce, all the sap on the inside of the tree, which is there's quite a bit on Scots pine, actually boiled and exploded and blew all the bark off. The tree actually exploded. It was quite a sight to see, followed by some serious running. It's funny how you do that, isn't it? Something goes bang and you turn and run away. It's too late, it's already gone bang. Yeah, but we did all move back considerably and gave a bit of distance to that area. That was where we used to play. If a fire started, we all had our bikes. We used to belt over to where the fire was, grab a branch or something and try and put it out. That was our playground. And we often had the fire out before the fire brigade got there. And they were really pleased. You could see it on their faces. Thanks, lads. Well, they've just fired up the truck, haven't they? A lot of them have had to, you know, they're on call, they've had to belt to there, they've had to find their way up, you know, through dirt tracks in some cases to get to where the fire was. And there's loads of kids with black faces, big smiles on their faces because they've already put it out. It was fun, and it stopped it burning to a greater extent and destroying our playground and all of the wildlife that lived there that we enjoyed so much. That particular area there had adders, slow worms, common lizards and sand lizards. I don't think there were smooth snakes. What's the other one? I thought we had 6 reptiles. Common lizard, sand lizard, adder, slow worm, smooth snake, and, oh, grass snake. There's grass snakes as well. So I think the only thing missing up there was smooth snakes, but they're so rare they could have been there and we just never saw them. So you had our reptiles. They don't do so well in fires, they don't move so quick, you know. So, and I sort of think of the areas in France and Spain. If you think of the damage that's being done, things like butterflies might be able to fly quick enough to escape. But what about the caterpillars and the butterfly eggs and the pupa? That's wiped out a generation. They're just gone. Think of all the young birds in nests, all the birds of prey that are in those conifer trees, you know, with their nests, often with almost adult birds in. It's all just been wiped out. I would imagine that deer can be quick enough to escape, but I don't know. Foxes probably can. You've got areas of Spain, top of Portugal and side of Portugal and Spain, where the Eurasian lynx lives. Well, they can escape it, they can run quick enough, but where do they go? Where do they end up? They end up somewhere where they possibly can't live very well, you know. So the damage is extreme. Rare plants that have possibly been just wiped out. Things may have become extinct as a consequence, and will take years to recover. Some areas will never recover completely. They will always have, you know, evidence of the damage that was done. So it's not good at all. And we have sympathies for the humans, you know, that may have lost their caravan or their tent or their actual home or their car. These things can be replaced. In the wildlife arena, some of those things can't be replaced. And there's more than enough humans around if any got lost. That sounded a bit harsh, but you know what I mean. We're not going to become extinct, are we? Far too many of us. And that's a statement I'm standing by. There's far too many of us. And as a consequence of that, it's probably why we're in this state. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that because I am waffling. And I'd like to get outside and have a sit down. I can now do that. That was very difficult for a while. I tried it and wasn't very successful. I can go out there and sit down reasonably comfortably now. So let's get on and do it. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for dropping by.